What were you going to say?
It doesn't matter now. But I like you're a lot cooler than me. You kind of have like your mic on an angle like that. It's kind of like you're the kid with the backwards hat and I'm the kid with the hat like, you know, flat, no no curve.
I like to think that I'm the kid with my pants around the bottom of my butt.
I think you had like the rolled up cuffs at the bottom, right? People would say, "Wow, he rolls up his cuffs."
That guy can get away with anything. Good morning, Mr. TK.
Good morning.
How are you, sir? It's a beautiful day.
Sunday, the sun's out, you know, birds are tweeting in the sky. We're looking good today, man. Sunday's a great day. 2021's a great year. I love it.
It is shaping up. Can you feel it?
I feel it. This
Can
is
you
gonna be
feel it?
like a monumental year for everybody. Everybody. All you got to do is just positive thinking. 2021's gonna be my year, and it will be.
It is going to be crazy. I can feel a wave, a tsunami coming towards the shores of Toronto.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the groundbreaking changes that we had this week in regards to online schooling.
Online schooling while we are
Otherwise,
trying
otherwise known as
crap.
deaf camps.
Oh,
Parents.
oh, for parents,
Yeah.
yes.
It's it is what it is, right? We're all dealing now with what teachers deal with on a daily basis.
Not quite, because there's 25 to 30 of them in a class normally.
And we're upset with just the one or two at our houses.
Yeah, it's
What do you think?
my listen. I told you before. I mean, my son is excelling in this. My daughter's always done good in school. I mean, I think mental health wise, there are signs all over the house at the moment, including dad. Dad's going a little bit nutty
Mhm.
lately.
But your kids are also older where the work that they're doing in school, they are 100% sure that you can't help them with it.
No, actually, some of this stuff I can
They're
help them,
they're
but
like, I better look this one up on Google.
it's way easier to just cheat.
Yes, to just Google it. Like I'm getting everything, I'm getting, oh, what's this? The teacher didn't say this was right. They
Sure.
didn't explain it properly. I don't have the work. I'm like, well, what's that? Oh, okay, yeah, there it is.
But my issue, and I'm sure a lot of people won't like to hear my opinion on this, but it's a sad state of affairs that the people that are teaching our kids can't even figure out how to do a proper teleconference. I mean, it's really easy.
Go easy on the teachers, Daryl. I think that they're doing a great job, and no, they're not all as tech savvy as you,
But,
Mr.
but I
Entrepreneur.
know, but listen, it's 2021. You kind of have to be.
But they didn't expect this. This was all like, they didn't know that this was coming. And I think for considering what some of
How
their,
much time does it bloody take to figure this out?
it
My
does take a lot
mom can
longer
do
than
it. My mom couldn't even record on a
your
VCR.
mom can accept a Zoom call and talk to somebody on FaceTime. She's not
Yeah,
setting up
she can't
Google
set up a group.
Classroom
Yeah, that's
and
true.
having all sorts of documents going back and forth. That's a whole nother story. So I think round of applause for the
Oh,
teachers. They're
okay.
doing good.
All right, fine. Listen. Once again, TK makes me look like an unempathetic monkey, which
The
I
teachers
am.
the teachers are doing really good, and
They
it's
are
just unfortunately the government is the
not.
one who's keeping the kids at home, and it is what it is. I wish I had all the answers, and I would tell you what I think we should do about this problem, but I
Well,
don't have the answers.
but I always do. I
I
have
know.
the answers. Nobody ever wants to listen.
I know. They should just consult with you. You should be a consultant. That
I
should be your
should.
next business.
I should be a teacher's consultant.
Everything,
I'll
just
just
all
teach
levels of
everybody how to go on to Zoom and set up a meeting.
all levels of government and business.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Darryl Frankfurt Consulting has just begun.
Limited.
Limited. Yes,
So
we want to eliminate all of my possible liability because there will be much of it. But
what would you give? What advice would you give to the real estate journalists of Toronto?
the real estate journalists of Toronto, see,
Mhm.
that is such a great question, because what I was thinking earlier was that I don't think most of the journalists that write about real estate have ever done, a real estate transaction, or if they have, it was just, buying their house or their condo. I mean, they're not realtors, they're not investors for the most part. I mean, they're just people writing about real estate. So
I
I don't
agree.
know that they really know what they're talking about. And as we've talked about in the past, I mean, it's about headline grabbing. We've seen it time and time again, right? It's most of the news isn't even like real or relevant. It's just, oh, look at that. There's all hell's gonna break loose, or there's gonna be a crash. Lots of crash. Hey, do you remember the crash of 2020, TK? Did you feel it? Because it was coming the whole time. Here comes crash of 2021, TK. It's gonna be blood in the streets. It's gonna be bad.
Question then. So there's a string of break-ins in a neighborhood where somebody's going around and stealing stuff from people's cars, and a journalist writes about, people who are going around stealing cars. Is it required that the journalist has any knowledge themselves about how to break into cars?
Not necessarily that they need to know how to break into cars, but I mean, it seems to me that, they hear about something and then they write a whole article about it. And there's very little, I don't know, I think evidence is the right word, but there's not much, there's very little context and content. There's like, this happened and boom, here's my opinion. And I mean, it's just the headline that matters. It's just getting someone to click on the page or to buy the newspaper. Or remember
I agree.
newspapers?
The headline is,
But yeah, I mean, you don't need to. I mean, real estate's a little different though. If you're gonna comment on real estate, I mean, I
you have a
think
source,
yeah.
right? There's
Well,
a topic, you have a source of your information. You reference maybe data from previous articles or previous studies, right?
hold on. Let's start again. Let's start the show again. Welcome to the Darryl is Wrong show. Boom.
Sorry, Dale.
That's okay. Hey, listen, it happens regularly. You should try living with me. But let's
But
get into real
I
estate.
think you're absolutely right. Is that
What?
a really good real estate journalist, if we had one,
If we had
which
one,
we don't,
which we don't.
would be somebody who has got in-depth market knowledge on real estate. And you'll see real estate agents and guys doing their YouTube videos, and you'll see once in a while some articles come out from some credible sources, maybe within the Toronto Real Estate Board or Build or one of these other type of you know
Lobbying associations
organizations. Yeah.
that
So
have no vested interest in putting out content.
again, that's just, and if you actually go to these developers organizations, if you go to their websites and look at their blogs, because I always try to just kind of figure out like, hey, what are these guys saying? And you'll see that they're only releasing articles or studies, quarterly. Like, it's every few months or so they'll come up with something, right? So it's not enough volume of articles coming out from the reputable sources, unfortunately. That's what will
Unfortunately.
change in 2021.
And to just keep with the current theme of manipulating the media, I have chosen only positive articles for today's discussion.
Beautiful.
And I think,
See what happens?
well,
Positive mindset. We start finding positive articles.
I feel good. I
Absolutely.
feel like this market I can feel the heat. I
Good.
can feel the heat on my brow, TK. It's heating up. And you can feel it too, right?
Oh man, yeah.
And everybody out there, you can feel it too, right?
If they watched our stats show, they know what's going on out there. It's
Well,
great.
a lot of people are watching that stat show. Holy mackerel. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Thanks for watching. Thank you to all of the new subscribers. Welcome to the Toronto Real Estate Show family. We really appreciate you. Anybody that's watching that isn't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. It helps with the YouTube algorithm.
Are we announcing the 100th subscriber right now or no?
It sounds like we just did. Yay!
I'm not very. I need to build up more suspense, right? We have a 100 subscriber. They
We
did win the
Blew
Amazon.
right past it.
We blew right past it. We've got an Amazon gift card for them, and they will be receiving it.
They
I'm not sure
will
how
be
we get it to them,
receiving
but
it. Well, actually, yeah, I will email it to them.
Beautiful.
So thank you again, everybody. Thanks for helping us blow past that milestone. We got a very special email from YouTube. Very
And we're on
exciting
our way to
stuff.
1,000. That's our next goal.
Yes,
We believe in goal setting. We believe in having, short-term attainable goals, and 1,000 subscribers in 2021 is going to happen.
it will happen. So thank you, everybody. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Please, if you want to say something, put it in the comments below. We love your comments. We love talking to you.
We
And it
will
also
reply
helps.
to every comment.
We reply, both of us reply to every single comment. I think we try to.
We try to.
There's not that many, so it's not that hard. But please,
Yep.
if you got something you want to talk about, or you have something that you want us to talk about, or you want to tell TK how great he is, then please leave it in the comment section below. Now,
There you
before
go.
we get rolling here, I want to announce that every second week we have a special guest booked already,
Special guests.
deep into February.
We're booking right now. We're actually almost booking into March.
We are almost
One more
booking
guest,
into
and then
March.
we'll have to just let people know we're not available till March, which is
Sorry.
absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. We like
Yeah.
other points of view.
Yep.
Next
We like to
week we
Bring in these
have
guests for our listeners. We want to make sure that anybody listening to the podcast is not just hearing our opinions on what's going on out there, but hearing tips and tricks from the pros and getting insights into the market in different parts of, different segments within Toronto or different parts of Ontario. Make sure that everybody's
Absolutely.
got as much information as possible to make those big real estate home buying and selling, investment property flipping decisions.
Absolutely. And speaking of experts, next week we have Jeremiah Seamus and Miles Kenny from Colliers. They are commercial realtors. They sold me a couple of properties this year. Really good guys. It's going to be very, very nice to have them on next week. So please join us next Sunday for that. And I think we should start talking about Toronto real estate.
Well, that would be very fitting of the Toronto Real Estate Show.
I
So
think
what's the first
it's
article
a
you got?
good idea. First article we have Mr. TK. Toronto ranked one of the world's best cities in 2021.
Hey!
Yay, Toronto, way to go. Now,
Every year.
keep in mind that it says one of the world's best cities, not the world's
That's
best
okay.
city.
That's okay.
In fact,
We're up there.
well, we're number 13.
Hey, I think we were number 13 in 2018.
We
from what I
moved
remember.
up. Well, 2018 was a long time ago, but 2019 we were number 17 apparently. We've moved up
Okay.
4
We had
slots
gone down.
in the rankings.
So now we're back to 13. So that's great.
Number 13, lucky number 13, and it is based on a whole bunch of nonsense that we won't get into, but it's a great headline and it is very positive.
But think about it. What would be the newest metric that they would be using for World's Best Series, considering there's been a pandemic over the last 9 to 10 months?
I don't think the pandemic factored into this, actually.
How can it not?
I know. It was.
How can it not?
I don't
How are you
understand how they did this, but they seem to have ignored the pandemic completely. But we all know how great the city is. Nobody needs to tell us. This is a major metropolitan world stage city. We've got
But we like
everything.
to just hear it every once in a while.
Well, we need other people to tell us, really, because we have an inferiority complex here.
Yeah. We are a good city, though. That's the main thing.
We
And
are a great city.
I think when we're looking at other major cities in the world, and I was looking at a projection of where like Manhattan prices have been and stuff.
Yeah.
We're super affordable.
Compared to London, Tokyo, Manhattan,
Yeah.
and a few other places, San
Even
Francisco.
just so cost of living for housing and stuff, but from food, entertainment, transit, it is we're very fortunate to be here. We get all the benefits of the big city, and it comes at a fraction of the price.
Yes, and that fraction is increasing pretty quickly, and we're
Sure.
catching up pretty quickly. But I mean, where would you rather live, honestly?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because I haven't been to too many places, but actually most places I go to, I say, wow, I'd love to live here, actually. We should move here.
Temporarily.
Probably temporarily, although
Yeah.
a beach and palm trees and sun every day is...
No, you'll get sick of it, then it loses its effect.
I can't disagree with you more, but regardless, we are talking about real estate here in Toronto. So housing market overcomes 2020's obstacles for third best year on record. What the hell? Third best year. We talked about it the other day. I like
Yeah.
the number 3. I'm good with being third.
And what they're talking about when they say third best year is total number of transactions. Because actually prices are higher now than ever.
It is insanity.
So
I was sitting with a gigantic real estate mogul this week. Yes, I left the house. I was wearing a mask. He was not. But one of my cousins... Generational, yes. He is a very, very wealthy, powerful man in his 70s. He is my cousin. He is a juggernaut. And he was saying, Darryl, I have never seen anything like this. You build a house, you put it on the market, it is gone. He goes, I've never sold so many materials. I've never sold so many houses. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And this is one of the guys that literally built this city.
Yeah. This is what it is. You know,
it's amazing.
There's a growth right now that's happening in a way that we were forecasting it. We knew it was coming. We knew that there was this, built up sort of moment that was going to happen where eventually we were going to say, oh my gosh, there's not enough places to go around, and we're there.
And it's all, not all, but like the majority of it is local demand now. So, I mean, I think I say it every single week, but that tsunami that I was talking about at the start is a tsunami of immigration. These people are going to flood this place and all hell is going to break loose. If you haven't bought already, like, get ready for prices to go bananas, because there is no way that the developers can keep up adding enough inventory to this market. So it is impossible.
One thing, just because you mentioned it, and I think that this is sort of a small misconception that people have right now, and that is that the borders are closed.
No, they are far from closed.
They're far from closed. Is immigration down? Sure. We still had 285,000 people come here in 2020.
We did?
Yeah.
Like to visit or to immigrate?
No, that's the number of immigrants in Canada.
280,000 with the pandemic?
285,000. 2019 was 313.
I wonder why the virus is spreading so much. Anyways, well, that's good. I mean, still, we're on pace to add another, 120,000? Or their goal is to
that's
add
the target, yeah.
Another 120,000? I imagine if you can bring in 280,000 in a pandemic, 400,000 shouldn't be too hard if everything is opened up and schools open up. I was listening to something about that 65% of students that are doing virtual learning in universities absolutely hate it and can't wait to get back to school. And people are just dying to get out of their countries and into ours, and they're just waiting and waiting. And then now they're allowing people that have been given immigration status the ability to bring their families in. It's going off the rails. Wow, 280,000 though. That is absolutely shocking.
Yeah, so people are still obviously coming into the cities, and they're obviously, some of them are already on track to come here. Definitely applications are down, and there's only so much that they can process. But at the end of the day, this is a market that people are hoping to be in, that they're fighting to be in, and the growth that we're seeing is like the higher end stuff. Okay, it's moving. But
don't talk about that yet.
Okay, the growth in the lower end stuff is like, wow, it's unreal. What a $400,000 house is going for from 2 years ago, could be up almost 50%. Like, it's like, what? This makes no sense.
TK.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback. Toronto's condo market is already heating up again.
I love it.
Did you know that?
I heard about it. I heard about it on a stats show earlier this week.
It's true.
Yeah. So
Toronto investors still earning hefty returns on investments.
Okay, sure.
Amazing.
Now,
real estate market continues to set new records as condo market shows signs of life.
The defibrillator came out and shocked it back into existence.
Isn't this just amazing? Uh-oh. That's not going to look good. Bargain hunting buyers cause condo sales to soar in December. RBC.
I love that. Bargain hunting buyers. That's what it was. We've been talking about it for how long, Daryl? That the opportunity to buy a condo was in 2020. I mean, it's still there now in 2021, but it's definitely disappearing by the day.
It is closing. The window is closing slowly, but I mean, again, as
Look,
people
you're
come into the city, the rents are going to start to rise. The mania is going to catch back on, and it's going to be BANANAS.
You got it. So the thing is, everybody was waiting in 2020 to get these deals. There was thousands of these assignment deals going back and forth off market. Everyone's like, I don't want to get into the brand new pre-construction market. There wasn't a lot of options. There was, sky high prices that the developers wanted. The resale market, they were older, you had to close on them right away. It means that you had to find a tenant right away. Everyone was like, I don't think so. So they went into this assignment market because they thought, well, I won't have to close for another 6 months or more. I'm going to pay less money than what the developers want per square foot. I'm going to pay more than what the resale is, but there's a risk to that, and there's advantages to that, deposit structures, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, less and less of those deals were happening in the assignment world, and people were sort of being re-energized to say, well, if I'm willing to spend $1,200 a square foot on an assignment that's going to close in 6 months, why would I not go and pay 1,000 for a resale that's already built that maybe I'll close it in 3 months, right?
Well, both are happening because in the assignment space, somebody paid $700 a square foot. They're selling it for 900 because they want to get out, and a new one is 1100 or 1200, right? So
Sure, a little bit,
everybody's
little bit
happy.
higher than that, yeah. But yeah, you're
Whatever, you
right.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
every tier, somebody is making some money, and somebody that's afraid to be in the market is getting out, and somebody who is looking for a deal is getting in, and everybody's happy. It's beautiful.
So these investors, they're looking at the numbers on what they're going to do. So they're like, okay, I'm going to buy this condo. This is the price. This is location. This is going to be the rent. Da, da, da. They're looking it over and they're like, yeah, I'm okay with this in the assignment world. Then all of a sudden, they say, well, why don't I go and look at what it would be on a resale? And they realize that the numbers are even better. So we had a lot of investors come back in and say, why am I even considering this? I mean, the rental market, chances are it's not going to recover as fast as we are hoping. So, that could take a year or two. I mean, we're not sure. But if you're ready to close on a condo in June or next year, this year at some point, then you might as well close on it sooner in a resale and get a better deal, right? And take your
Mm.
lumps on the rent for the first year, because you're at least getting, I would say, a 10% discount, right? And that's what happened in December, is people accepted the 10% discount. But then there's this other side. So the investors are there, and I think that most of the industry guys are saying that this push has been from investors. But I'm also seeing the end users, and the end users looking for a freehold are frustrated. They're pushed out of the market. They have no options. They can't go to Barrie, they can't go to Oshawa, they can't go to Hamilton without getting into multiple offers and having to compete for these listings. So
Hmm.
a lot of these end users, maybe they're younger, maybe they're retiring, downsizing, whatever it is, they're just like, what am I doing? Why am I going through this stress of buying, which is like racing to see a home, having to put in an offer when I'm competing against 30 offers? Why am I'm putting myself, I'm going to give myself an early funeral here. So it's better I just go relax, get a financing condition, take my time, review the status, and go through a nice, easy buying process and buy a condo, and I'll be okay there. And if I ever need to upgrade down the road, then I'll decide to go into a freehold after I build up some more equity, or whatever their situation is.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
probably the only segment of the market where you actually can get some time to make a decision while
In
while
certain
having it tied
areas,
up, right?
like there's the condo markets around the outskirts of the city are still pretty hot, actually.
Yeah.
So you still could be competing for those, but on a much lower level. Like you could probably even still get a financing condition, right? So it's like there's still
Well,
there's
that
still competition.
but you can get a condition.
Yep.
You couldn't get a condition last year, right?
No,
Well, at the
sorry, on
beginning of the
freeholds.
year. I-
Oh, I know what you're
I'm
saying.
saying in
Condos. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
condos now,
A
it's
year ago in condos, crazy.
but now you could you could tie something up, get
Yeah.
some time to make the decision, and that time passes, and the market's heating up, and you can
No
make
one
your
wants to
decision
make
and
rush
go.
decisions.
No, but you have to if you want a house. You can't.
I understand, but
Yeah.
nobody wants to. If I have the
No.
choice, right? I want to know that if I'm buying anything, I got an option to return it or I have time to think about it, right?
Sure.
And in real estate, that's not always the case,
Not in this city.
right? So
Not in this
when you're
city.
rushed and you have to make a decision, you could make bad decisions, and that's human nature.
So how many offers are we seeing now on houses, detached houses?
Crazy. Dozens,
Dozens. So that
dozens.
could be 12,
20,
24,
30,
36,
40.
48.
Scarborough this week, I heard 52.
52 offers
Yeah,
on a house?
on a house.
How much was this
Bungalow in
house?
Scarborough.
How much?
Under a million.
Under a million.
I think it
And
sold 860 or something like that.
is it livable?
Yeah, but needs work.
Like, would you live in it?
As is, no.
No. How
No.
much money would you have to put into it?
At
To
least 100.
at least 100 grand.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's not so bad.
Yeah.
So was this sold to a developer to knock down and
I don't know all the details, to be honest with you, but that was just the highest number of offers that I was exposed to. But otherwise, I'm hearing lineups at houses, lineups
So
at the door.
so hold on, do we know what the list price was? What was it?
I think it was 700,
700. And what did it sell for? Do we know?
860.
It only went up to 860 with 50 offers?
Well, I mean, that's the way the market goes sometimes, right? So
Wow, that seems like all right, I guess it was worth 860.
it's not something to base a decision off of how many offers and how much over asking. Those aren't reliable tools.
No, but you would think with 50 a decent agent would be able to push it up more than $150,000.
Possibly, but I think at the end of the day, it sold for a lot more than it should have, right? And then we had another property
Okay,
this
that's
week.
important.
Yeah, and we had another property this week that was sitting for a week around Christmas time. Nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden, after 2 weeks, it went into multiples, right? So 30,000 over asking.
What changed? You lowered the price?
More buyers. Nope.
Just all of a sudden more buyers.
Just all of a sudden, buyers realized that that was a good deal, and they wanted to line up and buy it.
Wow.
But yeah, I've seen some really incredible stuff.
What else? What else?
Selling. A property that I was following where builders had it listed for 2.6 million or something like that in Pickering.
This is a
And they were
brand new
sitting for
house.
months.
Yeah.
Brand new custom home.
Yeah.
They're sitting for months, and all of a sudden they went into multiples at the end of December.
It's so funny how that happens.
Got 2.6, and then they had another one they were building, and then that one sold. I talked to the developer yesterday. He said, I got more money for next door
Wow.
because there was other people interested, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like, that's nuts.
It's nuts, but it's like if you want to have a house, you better pounce. Did that
Yep.
rime? That didn't rhyme, but it sounded
That's okay.
okay.
It still sounded good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounded good.
Yeah.
But
so
it's
we're,
really
we're
true.
definitely seeing a huge uptick in the market, right? So if you got a property, and you're thinking about selling it right now, there's no competition, and you're gonna get top dollar, whatever that looks like in your market.
So, okay, so we have the first shutdown. Everything goes to complete standstill, opens back up again. The market makes up for the time that we lost. Now
Yep.
we're on lockdown part deux, and it is bananas. So what can derail this not comeback? Like what can derail this market right now?
The government.
Yeah, but even the government, they introduce stuff and it doesn't take long before the market steamrolls through it.
Well, Monday they've got maybe some new announcements coming in, so maybe they may suspend in-person showings for real estate transactions. Maybe they will allow properties that have already been sold so people can go back for a buyer's visit. If you're building a house, you can continue to build it as long as it's already sold, so somebody needs to move into it.
I don't think so. This is the
well,
only thing keeping the economy alive right now.
I'm just saying that anything can happen, right? So we'll see what happens. Also, I have a lot of clients who are selling and they are waiting for better news in the pandemic. Like they're really not hurting financially. They've got a lot of different things, areas of their life under control, and they are saying to themselves, you know what, I just don't feel comfortable having people in the house, so I'm not going to sell until the pandemic's over. And that's just me. So I imagine other people are dealing with the same thing. So it means that there could be a mass amount of people looking to sell in the spring, and we could be flooded with listings.
Well, that's good that you said that because there's an article that I want to talk about that speaks to that. I got to figure out how to do this a little bit better. That's
It's
not
okay. You're
it.
doing great,
That's
Daryl.
not it. That There we go. That's the one. Okay. So I think this kind of fits into what you're saying. Pandemic accelerated generational housing shift in Toronto. So
Yes.
what is this talking about, TK? The pandemic
Multiple.
has forced older people to retire earlier than they were planning, is one of
Okay.
the things that this is talking about. But it's talking about the boomer generation, or the baby boomers, um, getting out of their midtown beautiful house and moving to the suburbs, getting maybe some more space, more a pool, like whatever, but they're moving, they're taking money off the table. I don't know
Hmm.
why, but it seems to me from this article that there's plenty of evidence of these things happening all over the place. And,
Hmm.
and I think that adds some good property to the inventory, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
But I think it speaks to what you were saying, right?
Yeah, well, there's definitely people who are moving for different reasons. So, I mean, you're talking about getting out for more space for a pool, downsize, upsize, get out of an old house and into something more modern. There's lots of stuff,
Or
and there's
smaller because, you don't want to walk up and down the stairs anymore. Or you
whatever it is,
can't.
whatever it is. I got a long list of people who are all looking to sell, and they're just not quite ready yet, and they're there, and they're just like, house is paid off or close to. They've got all sorts of different possibilities and options, but they're trying to make that last final move. Um, of hopefully their life, right? Like they're trying to find that last destination, whether it be a condo or a smaller house or out of town, whatever it is. And so they're taking their time and they want to make sure they're doing the right thing. And the pandemic is just putting a hold on it, right? Like they don't want to go out and look, especially baby boomers. I mean, that generation, right? Vulnerable and stuff. So let's see, once those vaccines start rolling out, that could lead to a flood of inventory. Government intervention can lead to a restrictive measure on the demand side. There's lots of little things that can happen. I don't think interest rates are going to go up. I don't think there's going to be a financial tool that the government's going to use to slow down the market. We haven't heard that, and I don't think that is. I think because of the economy, and I think the government's taking their chances by saying we'll inflate the assets, we'll get everybody, we'll pump up the real estate market here because it's keeping everybody's roof over their heads, and it's going to allow them to continue to spend money and get us out of this economic situation.
Toronto officials eye land transfer tax from record home sales, brace for budget shortfalls. So, I mean, I've been talking for a while. I think, like I just said, I mean, I don't think they're going to do anything to jeopardize the housing market right now because it's the
Hmm.
only thing keeping everything afloat at the moment. And like you were just saying, they're pumping in money to inflate the market away, right? Or to inflate all this debt away. Um, I've been saying it for weeks. I mean, I think the next logical step is to do the same land transfer tax in the 905 as we have in the 416. I don't know why we have this imaginary line that divides the land transfer tax. It's pretty crazy.
Just a municipal tax. It's an addition to the provincial one.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, right now, I mean, imagine how many more tax dollars that would generate when we have stuff like it was just on the screen and I took it down and I'll put it back up if I can figure out how to do this again. Here we go. More people bought homes over 3 million in Toronto last year than ever before. You've been talking about the luxury stuff going bananas since
yep,
like, I don't know, June or July. But
yep.
this is crazy, and this is not the right article. Sorry, excuse
Two
me.
things there. One, average prices have gone up, so obviously there's going to be more homes in a category.
Absolutely. But I mean,
And
check this out.
yep,
This is just, I mean, hold
yeah, I
on.
saw the numbers.
Did you
Yep.
see the chart?
Um,
Holy, like I mean, we're in
Okay, yeah.
2017 bubble status with regards to the stats, especially in comparison to the last 2 years. I mean, we've almost doubled. Look at this: 1,004 $3 million homes versus last year's 637. That's crazy.
Yeah.
4,355 houses, $4 million plus compared to 236. That's a gigantic increase.
Hmm.
Gigantic. And $5 million houses, 166, 5 million plus compared to 117. I mean, that's like 40% more. I can't do the math quickly, but I mean, a lot of these houses are in the 905. A lot of them are out in Peel and Halton and Durham. Like there's I can't believe that there's $3-4 million houses in those areas, to be quite honest with you, but there's tons of them.
Hmm.
And that, I mean, none of those are getting taxed the way they are in 416. You could instantly double your land transfer tax income as the government if you added the same land transfer taxes Toronto. And listen, Toronto can absorb it. I don't know why 905 wouldn't be able to. It would maybe slow things down, and I don't even know how it would slow things down. It's only 2%.
So let's talk about the housing price ranges. So we've also built a lot more large custom homes in the last couple of years. So there's a larger inventory of these 5,000 plus square foot homes. There's a larger inventory of things in the 905 that didn't exist a few years ago. So yeah, there's going to end up being more transactions because people have built these houses and the market's there. Average prices have gone up. And then last year, because we're comparing it to 18 and 19, the 2 years before, were all low buyer confidence years, right? So market numbers were down all around, like people just didn't believe that the market was good. So
Let,
everyone felt I shouldn't be putting in. Prices were actually on their way down, and the higher end stuff is always going to be affected the most when those markets happen.
let me ask you a question. The people that
Okay.
are buying a 3, a 4, a $5+ million home, are they paying cash or are they leveraging these things?
A lot of the ones that are, as soon as you get to that 2.5, $3 million price ranges, these are the people with money.
They're,
These are the people who have money.
and they're paying cash.
A lot of them, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I know I mean, $1 to $2 million range, it's probably more about not so much the price, especially because it's so competitive, but it's more about how much will this cost me every month, right?
Yeah. So if you're going to be going out and buying a 2.5, $3 million property and you don't have money, like if you're over leverage and you're taking this huge, like why are you buying this luxury item? That's a luxury item. That's not a typical item. So why would you not go out and spend a little bit less money and maybe have less debt and be a little bit more comfortable? So there's mortgages out there. I'm not saying there's not. Lots of people do, but it's much more common to see people with money buying in those price ranges who don't need mortgages.
I mean, to
Um,
buy a house for $2 million at under 2% mortgage, right?
mhm.
Um, if you're bullish on this market, which if you're not, you're probably insane or living in a cave somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wouldn't be stupid to buy one of these things, live in it for a year or two, and flip the damn thing. You make a ton of money. I think that the
It's
prices
scary.
are
Yeah.
gonna go crazy in the next year or two, like
Yeah.
crazy, like we've
Well,
never seen.
I tell people that too. It's the one thing about real estate is the more expensive home you buy, the more risk it'll be, but also the greater returns you're going to have, the more appreciation you're going to have, right? So
Yeah, but
it
it's
just
like
depends on what you're using your investment for,
I
right?
think
So
people are looking at them more like a car. It's about how much is my lease payment gonna be, right? It's about how much is my mortgage payment going to be, not necessarily like what the value or not the value, but the price of the house, right? So it's like,
100% agree. Yeah. What do I qualify for?
yeah,
Great.
it's
So the
become
bank will give
like,
me this much money. This is how much I pay a month. I guess I'm looking at $800,000 houses. Okay. All right, let's go. Right. And that's
but if you were
typical.
looking at houses a little over a year ago, your payment almost cut in half now because mortgage rates were like 3.8 to 4.1 or something, and now they're at under 2. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether you qualify or not is another story, right?
True.
But people can definitely afford. If they're smart, they're going to get rid of that stupid, what is it? The test they did, or what was it called?
Stress test.
The stress test.
I
What the
think
hell's
the
that all
stress test
about?
is good now. I mean, it was a little bit of growing pains, but I think it's a good tool to prepare people for higher interest rates in the future. So it just keeps people borrowing less money than they are capable of paying. And if things do change, not just interest rates go up, but also if their jobs
Come
change.
on. How long is it going to? You got to qualify for over 2% more than what you're at. I mean, this is
I
crazy.
think it's good. Keep it on.
How long is it going to take to get over to raise interest rates over 2%?
Well, I mean, like I said, there's more than just interest rates going up. It's protecting people from borrowing too much because people borrow too much. That's the problem. Everyone borrows their max,
That's
and
not the
and they're not
problem.
in the
That's the
they're not,
design of the system. It's supposed to be like that.
but they're not in the businesses that are going to see any growth. So they make these decisions because they're like, I'm going to make this much money, but they're going to be making that same amount of money for the next 10, 20 years. And they don't factor in inflation. They don't factor in rising costs in other parts of their life. And in the end, they're biting off more than they can chew. And they are taking on too much debt. Like that's an issue for sure. So I think the stress test is good. Let's talk about the 905 land transfer tax. I just want your
Yes.
opinion because you're into this. So let me see what you would do. So let's go and look at a community that is borderline. So
Borderline what?
so the GTA, right? So 90 you're saying 905.
Okay, like Thornhill. If you go across Steeles, now you are in Thornhill. So if you're on the north side of Steeles,
Yes.
you pay 2% less land transfer tax than the south side of Steeles.
Yes.
So
Now
is
what about
income different there?
what about in Keswick then? So Keswick's also a 905 area.
Have you seen the houses in Keswick?
Okay.
Or the castles in Keswick?
Sure. Castles of Keswick.
The castles of
They should be paying the 2% too.
Abso-friggin-lutely. Why aren't they?
Okay. So you're saying 905 area, wherever that bubble is, that little horseshoe.
Ontario. Boom.
Ontario.
Ontario. Why the hell not?
So waterfront properties,
What is the average price of a house in Ontario?
500,000.
500,000. So if you can afford 500,000, what is an extra 2% on the land transfer tax?
10,000.
And you're paying, and it's gonna get rolled into your mortgage some way, one way or another. You're gonna pay.
No, you have to pay it cash, part of closing costs.
Yeah. Listen, there's ways to do everything one way or another. I paid for my honeymoon on my mortgage. Okay.
That'll be a next show. We'll do that. We'll do that show the next time.
We will do that
So
show the
what you're
next
saying,
time.
man, is the entire province of Ontario.
I
So
think so. Why the hell not?
if
Okay.
somebody's
But
looking.
let's just go back to 905.
Okay.
Where the hell in 905 can they not afford the extra 2% land
2%.
transfer tax?
I get it.
And
Now, if
imagine
they
what it
haven't-
does. Imagine what it does for the income of the gouvernemente.
What are you? Okay. So government wins. Fantastic. What are you saying the outcome will be? Like, what is this? What is the market going to do if you introduce that? Is it just strictly to
It's just to
get
boost.
government income, and then there's going to be no effect to the market? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I would imagine that if they have enough income, they won't have to raise income taxes or sales taxes or any other stupid programs, property taxes. Like,
Mhm.
they won't have to do something stupid. They can just implement this. It makes sense across the board, if you ask me. I mean, if you ask somebody that's thinking about buying in the 905, they may not like it. But, I mean, look at...
But now here's another part to this. The reason, so this is 905, right? Only?
Whatever you want, man. It makes sense across Canada, if you ask me. But let's stick to
Okay.
905 because...
Each municipality has to agree. And now let's
good
say
luck with that.
that's what I mean.
But
So
Doug
let's say
Ford can just
everyone
come in
agrees,
and say, you all agree. Sorry, thank you.
everybody agrees except for Whitby.
Then I say we have a referendum and we kick Whitby out of the province. They can join Quebec.
Pickering, Ajax, Oshawa, all when you buy there, you got to pay this additional 2% cost. Whitby says, nope, we're not doing that. Come here and you just pay the regular provincial land transfer tax. What's going to happen to the market in Whitby?
Listen, some more people will go to Whitby to save themselves their 10, 15, 20 grand. But I mean, it's still Whitby.
Okay,
If you want to live in Thornhill, Richmond Hill,
fine. Richmond Hill says
Oak
we're not doing this.
Ridges,
Richmond Hill says we're not
Oakville.
doing this. Markham says we're doing it. Aurora says we're doing it.
That's why
Newmarket says
that's
we're
why
doing it.
Doug
Thornhill
Ford
says we're
has to
doing it.
come in and go, boom, this is happening. I
I
signed
think
it into legislation. Come
that's the
get
problem.
me.
So it's provincial. So if it's going to be provincial, then it's going to be throughout the whole province.
I think it has to be mandated by somebody. Trudeau, Ford,
Okay, but I'm going to give you another
someone.
scenario, Daryl. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to poke holes
Hold
in
on
it.
a
I'm just
sec.
trying to,
Oh, right. So Toronto only had one person that had to decide. Is that how we
City
got it there?
Council voted on it. Yeah,
Yeah. Listen, City Council wants more tax revenue in every area of
I
Ontario,
agree.
I'm sure.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
don't think this would be too hard to push because guess who's going to get a raise, baby? Guess who's going to get more staff?
Yeah. So
Guess who's going to have more money to throw around to their friends?
it's a good idea, in
Oh,
theory.
it's a great idea.
It's a great idea
In
in theory.
practice, we've seen it. We've
In
seen it.
Toronto,
And somebody just wrote an article about how much we're
here,
dependent on it. I mean, if
like,
they wrote
that's
an
what it is,
article,
though.
if they
Okay,
wrote an article, TK, we know that it's
it's got to be
true.
true. So then let's look at that. So what happened in Toronto was 2017, we had all these sales. 2016, we had all these sales. We made all this money. 2018, they're like, oh, hold on a second. We have $150 million less income, right? And they have to have a balanced budget in the cities. We have $150 million less income because we didn't sell as many houses this year, or people didn't buy as many houses this year.
Yeah, because we came in and fucked it up. We shouldn't do that again.
So
Don't fuck it up. Keep
who?
it going,
But the land
guys.
transfer tax
It
is
wasn't a land
part of the
transfer
issue.
tax. That was
I know.
way
I know.
before then. What fucked it up was the stress test, right?
Stress test. That's
Stress
federal.
test
Yeah.
fucked it up.
That was a federal.
You get rid of the
Federal
stress
government.
test, you don't lose that income, right? So, I
Mhm.
mean, guys, think about what you're doing. There's like 3 steps forward you got to think of. It's not like rocket science. If they
Mhm.
think about what they're doing and the ramifications, I mean, I think it makes sense. Hopefully, you know, hopefully they do it and I'm right and there is no weird, like, I don't see what could happen. I really
What
don't.
about a tax on people's so no longer have the principal residence exemption and
Uh,
introduce
what do you mean,
a
like
new
the
tax
capital gains tax?
capital gains tax on principal residences.
Yeah, I mean, why? It's not necessary. Imagine how much more they generate with this. Imagine. And if you want to make more money, then get rid of the stupid stress tests and let more people buy and pay more land transfer tax. Boom. But I mean, that is the outcome, right? You can do. Look, we have super low interest rates. I forget where I read an article and I had it on the list and I took it off because it wasn't Toronto, but I don't know if it's Denmark or some country is doing 0% interest rates on mortgages for 20 years. You want to talk about stimulating taxes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Imagine what happens in Toronto if you, even if they're under 1% or even if they're 0.5%, the banks get fat. And you know what? Screw the banks already. Enough with you guys. Enough with you guys. You get to make less money so that we can all make some more for a change. They've had it for the last 30, 40, 50 years. It's the people's turn, but that'll never happen. But mark my words, there will be a 905 land transfer tax soon enough because it just makes friggin' sense. Can we talk?
I believe you.
I'm running for office. Did you hear about that there's a 22-year-old young girl in Scarborough running for office.
Good for her.
I think it's fantastic. Her whole team is apparently like young students.
Yep.
Zero chance she's going to win.
Okay. But
Maybe not zero, but like very slim
somebody's
chance.
going to vote for her. Yeah.
There will be people that vote for her, but this is what needs to happen all over the place. We need the younger generation to come in and win elections and say some stuff that people actually want to hear and do some stuff that makes sense. Because
Let's go away from our opinions,
oh
because I know that
yes,
both of our opinions are very strong, and we're mostly right.
who
But let's
has a
start looking
strong
at what the data
opinion?
was on jobs in December.
Was there jobs data?
Yeah.
All
So we
right.
lost 63,000 jobs in December.
How many
63,000.
we lost?
Yeah. So the reason that this is such a big deal, one is because typically in the holiday time and everything like that, there would be actually a huge job gain.
Hold on. By
Right?
we, who are we talking about? Canada or
Canada,
Ontario?
Canada.
Canada.
Right? So
Okay.
you'd have a huge job gain when it comes to seasonal stuff, retail, businesses, whatever, right? So they've got a lot of different new job opportunities for people coming in. So we'd see a lot of growth in December.
Yeah.
So we did see growth still in the professional, scientific, and technical services, manufacturing, public administration, wholesale, retail, and education. Okay. So we still saw significant growth in those regions, but accommodation and food services, I mean,
There's
they
our
got
shocker.
nailed.
Yeah.
They got nailed. Um,
Can you explain to
recreation.
me? My father-in-law owns a furniture store. Actually, a
Yeah.
few of our cousins own furniture stores too, and they can't be open. But they're gigantic stores. I mean, why can't they have 4 people in the store at a time? Why can't they have appointment only, like social distancing in a retail store? Why can't one person at a time? Why all this craziness? Why, like,
Um,
you could have, all these people could have kept their jobs.
I don't know, Joe. I'm not the one making the decisions, unfortunately.
We need to get somebody on the show to answer these questions.
So unemployment rate is now at 8.6%. Okay.
That's good.
So
Where were we
we've
at before? Where were we at the
it's up
worst
zero
of
point 0.1
times?
percentage points from November. Okay.
Up one, so it's worse?
Up zero point 0.1. Yeah.
Oh, point one. Okay.
Unemployment is up, so that's not good.
But point one is like it's not up.
It's not bad. It's very close, right? So that 63,000 job loss total. Full-time employment rose by 36,000,
But
but
that
it was 99,000 part-time jobs that we had lost
63,000 is the plus minus, or there was gains
net.
net? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so 36 were added full-time, but part-time was 99. Okay. Um, total work hours went down.
Well,
And
that's the holiday time. That's probably pretty typical.
And
Even if
also
there's
that
lots
this
of
was
people working.
the snapshot of the labor market as of the week of December 6th and 12th. So this is the biggest news. So all the lockdowns. So this was okay, retail, food, services, all that kind of stuff. People were starting to lose jobs, and obviously there wasn't going to be the same holiday season rush. But the lockdowns really didn't start until the second week of December. So
Okay.
there's a huge additional impact that's going to happen in January because of the shutdowns again. And we're going to start climbing back into those numbers that we saw back in early 2020, when we had the 13-14% unemployment rate,
But
and
the
further
unemployment
job
rate,
losses that we had, which were in the millions.
but the unemployment seems to be um, as in touch with reality as the stock market. Like they don't seem to be reacting to what's going on with the humans. Right? Like
Okay.
people are losing their jobs, the stock markets are going up, right? People are
Oh, I see
losing
what you're
their
saying. Yeah.
jobs and like they're getting checks, they're still buying stuff.
Here's what I can tell you about the stock market, okay,
Hmm.
is that every single person that I talk to knows about the stock market all of a sudden. And every single business person out there is running stock market courses
They don't
and
know
is
about
trying
the
to
stock
train people,
market. They know about Tesla and Amazon stock
right?
and
So
Apple.
so I'm just letting you know that right now it seems like there are a lot of people who don't know anything about the stock market in the stock market. But anyways, unemployment rates by age group and sex. Men age 15 to 24 18% unemployment rate. No surprise there. 18 to 24. Not many of them even want to be employed, so that's pretty good.
But does it keep
Female,
track of people that have money coming in because they have a YouTube channel now,
maybe not, right?
or a Shopify store that they're
Maybe
not
not.
reporting?
Maybe not. 17.4% for the female. Our category, the 25 to 54-year-olds, the workforce is at 7.3% for men, 6.7% for women, and 7.9% for men 55 and older, 7.8% in women. So women are doing a lot better than men. There's more unemployed men out there than women. That's not very shocking at all.
Hmm.
I'll
And
say no
and
more.
and tell me the relevance of that.
In regards to what? Gender?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's where the average
maybe.
is coming from. So we're talking about 8.6. Well, you can see it's mostly in the 18 to 24-year-olds who are also, I'll give you an example. See this haircut? It was
Yes.
from a mobile barber in that age category who came to my house and cut my hair yesterday or the day before.
I had a mobile mechanic come to my house and
Right?
fix my brake pads.
So that guy's paying, he's getting paid cash. He's not looking at any, stats to make sure he's not part of that 17.8% or he is part of that 17.8%, but he's making money under the table, right?
I don't think I'm going to report the 43 cents in ad revenue that we've made from the podcast.
Well, YouTube's reporting, and I'm sorry, Darryl, you are officially
It,
employed
it's
by YouTube.
it's not from
You're
YouTube.
no longer self-employed. You work for YouTube now.
I work for YouTube.
But that category, so 18 to 24s, like they're getting hit hard. So I guess one, it doesn't include the stats that are going to be coming out in January. Those are going to be much worse. There's going to be a lot. We're going to lose a lot more jobs in January now because of the lockdowns. That is inevitable. Okay. The other category, which is inflating the unemployment numbers, is because it's a bunch of people who don't really need to have a job right now. So there's no job, there's no part-time jobs, there's no seasonal jobs. They're kind of sitting at home saying, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't need money to go downtown and go to a bar. Like
Yeah.
they don't need a job right now.
Yeah. Thanks,
Right?
Dad, for knocking out this rent. Thanks, Dad, for paying for
18,
this
18 to 24, most
electricity.
of them are living at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, the last thing that I want to talk about today, which I've been
Okay.
trying to squeeze in for weeks.
I'm sorry. I
No,
talked
it's not you. It's the way that things are going. But
Okay.
this is where all of the opportunity lies for these people in that age group and most age groups, quite honestly.
Right.
Oops, I pressed the wrong button. One moment, please. I guess we'll get to this next time. But this is what I've wanted to talk about for quite some time, and we've touched on it before. Robots to the rescue, baby!
Finally.
Why
Yes.
the construction industry welcomes them to job sites. Did you see the video of the dancing robots?
Yeah. If they can dance like that, then they can build a house.
What the hell can they not do? Okay?
Explain what the robots do. Just explain to me. How is a robot going to help on a job site? Tell me.
Yes. Okay. Now, there's robots and there's autonomous vehicles, which they currently count as robots. So, for
Okay.
example, you can have an autonomous excavator that works with an autonomous bulldozer that works with an autonomous dump truck. And
Wow.
these machines can be programmed in a very, it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Controlled setting. Okay, it's very controlled. So, there's perimeters and there's not much else going on a job site when you're clearing or excavating, right?
Okay.
So this excavator and the bulldozer, they're doing their thing, and the dump truck's sitting there waiting, and nobody is driving any of this stuff. So they can work Saturday, Sunday, evenings, weekends.
In the dark.
They can work in the dark. They can work in the light. They can do whatever. And is it perfect? Probably not. But it's
Probably far from it.
no, but you should see this shit. It is getting really, really good.
I agree.
Now, the dog robots, for example, are currently being used to track progress and to track mistakes, right? So these robot dogs with cameras all over them and sensors all over them are walking around job sites, recording, taking pictures, seeing mistakes, seeing, helping
Wow,
with the
that's
schedule.
awesome. Yeah.
crazy stuff. Now they've also
So you
got
know the dog's watching,
the dog is watching, and
right?
that helps with productivity. I
That
gotta
helps with
think, right?
productivity. Yeah.
Now they also have exoskeleton suits where a man or a woman can put on this backpack with these arms and increase their strength 100-fold. Which,
Yes.
you know, instead of somebody taking 3 or 4 2x4s at a time or pieces of steel or rebar or whatever it is, they can carry the whole lift, right?
So where this comes from for our listeners who haven't been following us for the bulk of the lifespan of this podcast, this wonderful YouTube channel we have,
Yes.
is
Wonderful.
Daryl's number one theory on how we're going to be able to build more in order to combat the shortfall of supply that we're going to face over the next decade is to incorporate robots into the building process. And,
Robots,
and they're coming.
technology,
The robots are coming.
everything. It's all coming
Yeah.
and it's real. And what has to happen is, listen, who in the 18 to 24 bracket wants to do manual labor anymore? I mean, and
Zero.
especially after the pandemic, I mean, they're getting
Canadian
fat
born,
and
0.
lazy, right?
Yep.
Even not Canadian born. I mean, there's a lot of entitled people everywhere right now, and they should be, because the reality is that it's way smarter to put on a VR headset and control something remotely, right? Which is definitely a possibility now. You can control one of these excavators remotely, right?
Yep.
You can control a robot in a convenience store to stack shelves remotely with a VR headset. Like, there's crazy stuff going on in the world right now.
Okay.
And so what happens is people have to code these things. People have to come up with these things. People have to service these things. People have to build these things. There's a whole revolution of jobs that are just shifting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if you're driving a truck across the country for a living, you're going to be out of a job in the next 5 to 10 years. There is zero doubt about it, because the autonomous trucks are coming. And why in the world would somebody pay somebody so much money when they don't have to? It just doesn't make sense. But somebody has to know how that thing works and how to fix it when it breaks down and how to code it so that it works properly, right?
Yep.
And this is
And
where
that
all the
one
growth is
person
going to come from.
replaces 20 drivers
Somebody has to
because
sell these to the developers. Like,
yeah.
there's a whole marketplace for jobs. But if you're going to be a server, I mean, listen, there are coffee shops now with robot baristas. Why have a human doing such a repetitive task when a robot can come and do the thing for you, and you
Mm-hmm.
pay $25,000 for
I'm
the
so
robot
excited for the
once?
future.
It's going to be really crazy. It's going to
Yeah.
be really amazing. There's some amazing stuff out there. But anyways, thank you for letting me get that in. I think it's been a
Absolutely. That was worth
wonderful
it.
show. I look
Squeeze it at the end
forward to
there.
next week when we have our wonderful guests from
Me too.
Colliers. That's going to be very exciting. Mr. Jeremiah Seamus and Miles Kenny. It's going to be a great show. Thank you, everybody that's still here. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Smash that like,
Boom.
hit the
Done.
notification bell, and make a comment, please. Thank you
Thank you,
very,
Daryl.
very much. Thank you, TK. It
Great job
was
again.
an absolute pleasure, sir.
And we'll see you next Sunday.
We'll see you next Sunday.